Hello everyone, I'm Veronica Papacosta, CEO of Seafood Industry Australia. Joining me here today is Boris Musa, Managing Director and CEO of Mainstream Aquaculture Group, and recent appointment to the FIDC Board of Directors. Welcome Boris and congratulations.
Oh, thank you for having me, Veronica. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, Mainstream Aquaculture is SIA's newest member, and today we're going to learn more about the business from Boris and hear about what led them to join SIA. So Boris, can you tell us a little bit about Mainstream Aquaculture Group?
Definitely. Mainstream is a vertically integrated producer and supplier of barramundi, which is, as we know, a popular table fish here in Australia. We operate right through the value chain. So we have a fingerling business where we supply barramundi juveniles from our selective breeding program to barramundi farms all over the world. Last count, we were exporting into 27 countries. We also have a domestic farming operation. We have 5 farms, 2 recirculating farms in Victoria and 3 pond-based farms in far north Queensland. And we sell our product from those farms under the Infinity Blue barramundi brands.
Absolutely, I know them well as a retailer. I move a lot of your product on the East Coast, which is fantastic. So it's really interesting to me because recently you've acquired Gold Coast Marine Aquaculture, the operation in the Port Douglas area. Can you give me a bit of an idea of where you're headed with that?
Yeah, we have aspirations to grow our scale in far north Queensland, and the Port Douglas farm gives us the opportunity to convert an existing infrastructure that was previously used for the production of prawns into quite an impressive barramundi farm. So we are now in the process of upgrading the infrastructure, mainly the electrical infrastructure, and growing fish in our nursery, with the plan being a first stocking of that farm in October this calendar year. And when under full production, that site will add 2,500 tonne of annual production to our portfolio.
Wow, that's fantastic. I was wondering if it was staying in prawn, but very interesting to note that aquaculture infrastructure can be converted to different species. I think that's fascinating. So I'm told that the story of how Mainstream started is a really interesting one. I'd love to hear briefly how the founders kicked things off.
It is an interesting story, and I'll try and keep it brief, but the group was set up actually by 4 individuals: a marine biologist, an engineer, a professor of aquaculture, and a financier. It was set up in 2001, and the business had the aspiration to be a large-scale provider of recirculating aquaculture products, so a range of different species. And along the journey, the team at Mainstream identified that in terms of on-farm productivity and in-market acceptance, barramundi across the array of species that tried to grow was by far the best candidate species. So the group focused its effort and energy on barramundi exclusively. I was fortunate enough to get to know the business in 2010. I joined the board as a non-executive director, and I joined the board because I'd always had a passion for marine science. So whilst I was in financial services, I offered my commercial expertise to the company if they wanted that sort of capability and skill set. I got really excited about the potential for aquaculture, the capabilities of the business, and that turned into a full-time executive role in 2012 for me in this company. And since then, it's been a steep learning curve, but it's been thoroughly enjoyable, and we've achieved a lot. And I think we're much closer to the beginning than the end, so to speak. There's a long and prosperous road ahead for Mainstream Aquaculture.
Look, definitely, I think there's 2 things there. One is that business approach to aquaculture seems to pay off. We've seen that in a lot of businesses around the industry, and really it's a driver of innovation. So we commend you on the growth you've had in that last 9 years. It hasn't been that long. And also the potential in aquaculture that we can see in the road ahead is huge. So absolutely, I think you're on the right track, and we're really excited to watch amazing things coming.
No, and I was quite fortunate to be able to bring a commercial skill set to a very strong technical team. There was real synergy there, and there was
Mm.
real chemistry amongst the group. So it has worked well, Veronica. And it is a business, aquaculture, that is highly complex and requires a lot of capital. So having that corporate expertise can really support a growth strategy.
It's true. We do talk a lot about the similarities and the ties that bind us between wild catch aquaculture and post harvest, where I am. But also, but I think the differences have to the differences have to be acknowledged as well. And I think you've articulated that really well. It's very much about access to capital, innovation, and staying ahead of the curve. So you've recently become a member of SIA through Mainstream Aquaculture, which we thank you very much for. What caught your interest and led you to join?
Well, Seafood Industry Australia is obviously the peak representative body for seafood in the country, and I think there is a massive opportunity to grow the Australian seafood sector, uh, both as a protein source, but also to capture existing opportunities that might be serviced by imported products. So I'd like to think that with our journey in the space, growing the addressable market for locally produced barramundi, we can add some value to that strategy and to that growth on a sector-wide basis. It's also an interesting time in that we have a number of key discussions taking place at government levels. So we have the conversation around country of origin labelling laws and the potential expansion in the application of those laws. We also have a lot of dialogue around biosecurity at our borders and the implications that might have for imported seafood. I think both of those conversations, if they turn into changes to legislation or policy, are really going to catapult the Australian seafood industry to another level. And we're hoping in a small way to be a part of that journey.
Fantastic. Well, we really enjoy having you along for that journey. I won't take up any more of your time. I thank you so much, Boris. It's been a real pleasure talking to you, and I know that our conversation will continue. And for anyone watching who isn't yet a member of SIA, I encourage you to visit our website and click on the Join SIA tab to find out how you can become a member very soon, and join us in the journey that Boris and I have both taken on to expand and grow Seafood Industry Australia and the industry itself beyond expectations that we may have had in the recent history. So thank you, Boris. I really appreciate your time and look forward to working very closely with you.
Thank you for having me, Veronica. Much appreciated.